Welcome back to The Edge. Is your brand prepared for what LLMs are doing to search? What is happening to HubSpot and their SEO traffic? And Cindy Krum of Mobile Moxie joins us this week to help us focus on SEO news. You're listening to News from The Edge for the week of January 20th, 2025 here on Edge of the Web Radio.
From the Edge of the Web studios, here's what we're looking at this week.
Welcome back to the show. Thanks for joining us. This is Edge of the Web Radio. I'm your host, Aaron Sparks. We're covering SEO and digital marketing news each and every week, separate from our interview series. So check that out as well. We're trying to get more news to you as quickly as possible. Check out all the recent shows over at edgeofthewebradio.com. That's edgeofthewebradio.com. This is the Site Strategics news desk of Edge of the Web. Proud to have Site Strategics as the title sponsor of this episode of the News from the Edge. If you're interested in what you can do with us, just give us a shout. Go over to sitestrategics.com today. All right, pivot around. Joining me on the show today is the indomitable Cindy Krum of Mobile Moxie. Cindy, how are you doing today?
I'm doing okay. How are you?
We're great. We're great. Thanks for joining us as we're pivoting and changing up the recipe of News from the Edge. What's going on in Mobile Moxie's world? Give us a little bit of insight into some of the things that are happening.
Oh my gosh, just, jumping into 2025, getting a bunch of travel plans going. I'm excited to be speaking at some new conferences this year and, of course,
cool.
some old ones. So, yeah, and then, chugging along with client work.
What conferences are you going to this year that you haven't gone before?
Oh, let's see. There's a couple. There's a SEM Rush one. I have to check my list. I'm redoing Friends of Search, which is in Amsterdam. I've done that a couple times before, but not in a while. Let's see. I might be, I'm definitely going to Munich. I might be going to, I don't want to, this one hasn't been announced.
Don't spoil. There's also an announcement. SMX Advance is returning to in-person in 2025 as well. They just announced that. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of conferences in 2025. We're finally in there where we can actually sit down, rub elbows, talk, drink, have a great time with influencers, and listen to some great insight from all these different conferences. So great. You're going to have to update us on the schedule as you pin all that down, so we certainly can lift you up there. Hey, that said, we wanted to jump into a few news articles that are brimming over in the pot right now. One of them that I wanted to touch on was from Search Engine Land from Jason Tabling. He says, LLMs are disrupting search. Is your brand ready? With zero-click results and skyrocketing referral traffic, LLMs are the new gatekeepers of the web. Adapt your strategy to this shift. Now, that said, it's interesting to be able to see this article. I've heard a number of these insights here recent. If you're just catching up to that, LLMs like ChatGPT, Google Gemini are gaining prominence, and businesses are going to have to adapt to the landscape defined by this new conversational AI, the zero-click results, and that's a whole nother asterisk right there, and new consumer behaviors. These are gateway platforms now, and I love the headline. The front door to the web has changed. LLMs have grown in capacity, fundamentally transforming how customers engage with content online and reshaping how they access the web. With Apple Intelligence, Meta Apps, and Google Chrome, there's more consumers interacting with those areas, those platforms than ever before. 58% increase in Google search results, resulting in a zero-click, or what's being reported by Perplexity right now. What do you think about the changing topography now? But what's your first takes here?
Yeah, so much to say here. So number one, I would say, yes, this is absolutely true. And you can go in a couple different directions with this kind of idea. So ranking a brand in an LLM is critically important. Having the LLMs know about your brand and what you do, what you specialize in, that's really, really important. And it's a new aspect of SEO that we're not used to. But the other two things I want to mention here is the brilliant talk by Mark Williams Cook at Search Norwich this year, where they found a Google endpoint that basically allowed them to see a bunch of data that we hadn't seen before. And what it showed was that Google was using brand mentions, even if they didn't have links, as part of a brand authority score.
Yep.
And without brand mentions, you weren't going to have enough authority to rank in, all the queries that you want. And so it's not just about links, it's about brand mentions. And then the other thing that they found that was contributing to the brand authority score was queries that include the brand and a keyword. And so you can think about this as a way that searchers are telling Google directly what they think a brand does. So if I search for, a dress brand and black dress or black gown, then I'm telling Google that this brand does black evening gowns, and that if it doesn't know where they are, it should go look again, right? And so when people search like that with the brand plus a keyword, that is also feeding the brand authority score. So definitely watch that talk. It's on YouTube, and it's just really great. Mark is super smart. He runs the company Also Asked, and they have a great tool. So check that out. But then the other thing that this made me think of is the research that came out before the end of the year, probably in November, by Rand at SparkToro, talking about the different types of searches, because you can show up in LLMs, you can show up in Google results, but then you can also show up where people and where your target users are searching, and that's not always Google anymore. So what we've noticed is that, or what he's noticed, I should say, is that people are doing more branded queries. So that's, again, important for that point of it, but that people go to Google for like answers that you would have used to look at Wikipedia for, or an encyclopedia, like things that can be known. People just search Google. If they don't know it, they're like, Google knows it, I will search this. Things that are more nuanced, that have opinions or layers or conversations that warrant a conversation, people are now not necessarily starting with Google, because they might not want to wade through the links or the AI overviews. They might want to just go where they know that audience is. So they might start in Reddit, or they might start in YouTube, or they might start in an industry or a topic specific forum when they want more details or more nuance. So like I just did the 5 hours of SEO with Duda yesterday, and I did a talk about zombies and zombie SEO. It was great. The illustrations were amazing. And I talked about there, like, you might search for like, what do zombies eat in Google, and that might be like, they eat brains. And that's like the thing that, like, if you wanted to know, like, how do I survive the zombie apocalypse, like, there are many theories and plans and topics where you might want more nuance, and that might not be where people start. They might not start in Google, they might start in Reddit.
Right. People are getting more and more fractionally aware of resources and authority. So where they were trusting Google on a regular basis, there's a lot more options, just like fractional cable back in the day, right? You are touching a nerve, because we just went through the entire Walking Dead series again during the holidays, and finished it off with the 6-episode capper to that just got launched. So I'm triggered, but at the same time, I can see exactly where you're going here. Along with that, you're talking about nuance, you're talking about specialty, and the platform, the LLMs, are getting better and better at citation. Now, also, consumers understand the hallucination side of things, and that's getting better and better, and more verifiable information inside the results of these LLMs. Perplexity specifically are having some really good results whenever you're doing more nuance and deeper queries. So is this a change of consumer behavior, of moving from broad query and search and replace type of query that has been the behavior in Google experience for the longest time, and really breaking off and jumping into areas that they're actually able to trust a little bit more from a user behavior and adoption of a bandolier of different resources? Is that what we're really talking about here?
Yeah, I think, I haven't said this out loud before, but you bring up a topic that I think needs to be explored a little bit, which is the idea of what LLMs were originally designed for. And I think that the fact that they missed citations, or that many of them were light on citations in their early days, what they were planned to do anyway, which is more conversational interactions and not so much search with blue links and results, but like more conversational answering. And so, like, I know in some of the headlines this week is the AI chat feature coming out of Yahoo. And I think, Google has wanted Gemini to be a conversational agent from the get-go as well. So I think that the people developing these things were like, oh, you want a citation? Oh, okay. Because citations don't fit naturally into a conversation. Like, how do you, when it's harder, especially if you're thinking about a conversation that's outside with like a voice-oriented bot or agent. So yes, I think like it's great, it's needed. And especially to eliminate hallucinations and give more background knowledge for people who need it. Obviously, and citations are, the legal and fair thing to do. But I think it goes kind of back to what people were searching Google or potentially are searching Google for. In many cases, it's not nuanced enough to warrant a citation. So, for instance, if you ask a question like, how long do possums live? This is a thing that is known. It's a thing that's probably written up on many blogs about possums, or like Wikipedia articles and things about possums. Like there's not just one source, there are many, right? And so I think that's kind of the conundrum: is at what level at what level of factual data is a citation required, and when it's kind of something that's easily knowable, is a citation, who do we cite and how do we know that they're the right website to give the citation? It's just kind of a lot of, I think, a conundrum that the people developing these systems didn't anticipate to the level that SEOs especially wanted.
Absolutely. Well, thank you for that insight. And I know you've been focusing on this for a while, and this is the coin of the realm, I think, as we're moving from different types of behavior in search. And you better believe the LLM products out there are wanting to scoop up some of that market share and be able to have that type of interaction, because guess what? Ads are on the other side of that. All right. Talking about a conundrum, I want to pivot real quick and then jump into your focus pieces here. From Martech, from Danny Goodwin, HubSpot's SEO collapse, what went wrong and why? This is big news right now, and it's being talked about. Organic traffic has dropped huge for HubSpot, considered by many to be the gold standard of B2B vendor blogs. So if you haven't caught it, basically HubSpot's organic traffic, is down 73%. If you're not familiar with a blog, they have thousands of articles that they've been pushing for a good number of years. What's been caught here is just recently, over the last 15 to 20 days, they have dropping from 13.5 million to 8.6 million in December, according to SEMrush. And there was a number of different insights, especially from gentlemen over at Ahrefs. So that said, some SEOs are blaming the huge traffic drop on HubSpot's lack of topical authority, while others pointed to possible thin content issues. There's a sampling of different X posts in there, but Chris Long over at Go Fish Digital really had an expose there, and we are going to put that link out there. A 70% drop, and he started to go after, and they started to analyze this content, and what they found was close to 52% of the content was under 2,000 words, each and every blog. There's a lot of thin content at 5%, 16% are 1,000, 2,000 words, around 52% only. About 24% of the articles were actually longer than that. And what he's positing is that we're dealing with a subject matter expertise issue, is that they've been so broad in their subject matter. Again, it's still in the space of SaaS and digital and content, inbound content and marketing, but a lot of these articles were thin, and positing the thought that you probably need to stay in your lane and not have such a marginal set of content, but really be more specialized. Didn't know what your take was on it, but I want to throw that into the mix here because this is your lane. So what's your hot take on this one?
I have not dug into this to look at it at all, so it's pure speculation. But I do know that Victor Penn, the SEO over there, has said he has a story to tell about this, but he hasn't told it yet. So I'll be interested to hear what his perspective is. I think that some of the hot takes out there are probably valid. I do think that to some degree there's a mismatch between what HubSpot does and SEO focused articles. HubSpot
Mhm.
is a platform for brand communication, but that's not only SEO. And so maybe they got too far away. Maybe they got classified as one thing, but then the blog was classified
Yep.
as something else. And there's a
Yep.
mismatch. But I think it brings up a really valid point, and this is something that I hear all the time, which is like, what is the appropriate length of a blog post? And everyone always wants to know the answer to this question, and there is no answer to this question. It's the appropriate length is however long it takes you to respond to the question or topic appropriately. The problem is the web is full of repeat articles.
Mhm.
And Google doesn't want everyone writing the same kind of article with the same highlights over and over again, because it's not going to rank all those. It wants a diversity of opinions and thoughts. And if you're just rehashing something that's already been written up and blogged about to death, don't do it. And if you're not, then write the appropriate amount to deal with it, to get your unique ideas and thoughts out there. But don't just be an echo of someone, who might have more authority than you.
Absolutely. The subject matter expertise perspective there is coming full bore here, because they're writing a lot of content, and some of the examples were / famous quotes / best cover letter examples / resignation letter / small business claims / what is your greatest weakness, right? So you can see some of that topic out there, and those are some major drops in visibility as a sample of, or a set of examples of these pages. Stay in your lane. Be a specialist. Have your citations. Be credible in the space. If you're churning out the content, right, and it's not in those specialties that those writers are actually writing about, is this now kind of a great canary in the coal mine experience of, all right, something's coming at us. We've had so many different iterations of helpful content before. Could this very well be a major blow to the type of at-scale blog engines out there? Anyway, just wanted to bring that to your attention here, to our listeners' attention. Watch what's going on there, and watch the dialogue about this, because this is core for subject matter expertise, knowledge, specialty, authority, and trust, and everything that we've been talking about. All right, real quick before we jump into our focus articles here, proud to have Site Strategics as the sponsor of Edge of the Web. Have a question. Oh, this is kind of a linkage here. How do you create authoritative subject matter expertise that we know Google's looking for, especially over at HubSpot? Learning from your client is always the place to start, but organizing a well-thought-through interview process is time-consuming. So we've actually developed a specialty here at Site Strategics, a subject matter interview process that's backed by our years of interview techniques. We can bring us in as a SEO SWAT team, extracting some incredible knowledge, voice, and passion from your SMEs for your use. We can deliver a targeted series of questions and goals during the interview, work organically, and be able to extract some fantastic information that you can curate into video content, audio content, transcripts, blog posts, as well as structural content. So if you're interested in what we can do for you, give us a shout over at sitestrategics.com. Remember, it's not about you, it's SME. Had to get that one in there. there was a segue here. All right, jump into some of SEO focus for this particular show. Cindy, your first article that you brought to attention here is a pretty interesting, and there's a number of interesting topography articles here. First one from Search Engine Roundtable over with Barry Schwartz. The Yahoo search test AI chat. Yahoo's actually seeming to testing an AI chat within its search results. The chat feature loads on the right-hand side for your query. You click on it and it loads an AI bot. This was spotted by Sachin Patel, who posted some examples on X, and there's a screenshot of that. We'll have all the show links in there. Tell me why we're talking about this right now, Cindy.
I already mentioned this a little bit, and of course, Yahoo's not the first one to do this. We saw something similar at Bing, and Google's trying to do it as well, although not in the exact same way. But yeah, I think that everyone knows that you can do a traditional search query with filters and refinements, but those filters and refinements come out basically as a conversation as well, and people are potentially more open or willing to do the conversation and get closer to what they're looking for faster in a conversational way rather than just continuously drilling down on different filters. So the different companies think they can monetize this, and I'm sure that they probably can. So yeah, interesting. I expect 2025 will be a year of lots of different tests and testing and pivots and iteration from all the search engines. So I wouldn't over-optimize on any of those, but just play with it.
But they're going to be messing around the sandbox. That user experience is going to be changing over and over again. And this is going to be a year where everything's going to be exploding on the SERP. Jacob, you got a thought?
This could be a really old question. I don't know. Does Yahoo still get their search results from Google? Or is that really old news?
I think
I know
them from
Bing.
From Bing? Okay.
Right?
But the point is they're not a search engine at all. They're getting their data from somewhere else. But this is their chatbot interacting with someone else's data.
And
right?
remember, the thought is it's actually a licensed Bing interactive element as opposed to possibly a homegrown piece inside of Yahoo. But to your point.
But that's what I'm asking, though, is that it's their bot interacting with
something else. Exactly.
So so you'll get different chat results than you would get from the Bing bot. So you'll get the same search results from Bing or Yahoo, but you'll get different chat results. That's what I was asking.
It depends.
Okay. It depends. Okay. Sorry. I should have known. Okay.
Sorry. I had to go there. Another piece of the topography that's shifting here. Another article over at Search Engine Land. Tested. Google page annotation opt-out does work. Google's still testing the offensive page annotation feature in the Google iOS app still, but the good news is that the opt-out feature does indeed work. It says, Barry, it takes about a month, but if you opt out, Google will stop showing page annotations on your web pages. As a reminder, the feature, he says, will take over your web pages, take your content, inject links in them to go to a Google search result page tab. Yes, your site visitor is on your website, and then Google is trying to take them off its search result and take it back to the search results. There's a couple screenshots of that. So it literally lays in the link as it's on a separate website, and it pulls it right back over to its own search results. Okay, a little bit of overreach there, even further, but you can actually opt out of that, and it's actually working. But here we're coming back to the feed, back to the SERP. This is in the same space of this additional interactive element. Cindy, any thoughts about this? Well, one, it's a good thing that we can actually opt out of this, but why in the world were they doing that?
Oh my God. So I was late to the outrage party on this one. It was going on for a little while, and then I heard about it, and I was like, what are you talking about? Like, that is theft of traffic. And it reminded me so much of the old days of SEO when you used to be able to buy like links on a keyword through an ad network, and they would just sprinkle those links wherever they wanted, from like random sites to your site if they could find that keyword. And the example that was going around when I saw it was they were actually stealing brand traffic and putting it to the wrong keywords. So someone had mentioned Search Engine Land, the publication, but Google had decided that it was going to link on search engine as like an entity topic and link you back to a search result for search engines. And even though they were all capitalized for Search Engine Land, like it was totally hijacking. They could have put a brand link, at least given you back, like gotten you knowledge graph query traffic or something, but no. And so it's so like self-dealing in terms of like we're the browser and we're the search engine and we're the ad network all in one. And so like if they, let's say they wanted to increase search engine query volume for a certain keyword, they would just put it in all those pages and be like, oh, look at that, the search engine traffic or the Google search volume for this keyword shot up amazingly. How did that happen? Like they totally could like play with that data all day, and they're making money on it. They're not even sending it to other websites. They're sending it to monetize search results and hoping that you'll click on an ad, or at least that they get to count that in what they're selling to the advertisers in terms of search volume. Is so shady. So shady.
Incredibly shady.
Great that you can opt out. It takes 3 to 5 weeks is what the article said, I think. And originally it was announced as you had to opt in to your site. but this is like webmasters have to opt out. I don't even know. I'm sure it's in the article. I don't know where to opt my website out of this. So like my website, until I go do it, until you go do it, everyone you work for, every website you own, they're opted in.
Now, conversely, the privacy laws that Google's trying to adhere to, this is counter to all of that. The sheer fact that they're actually opting in before you can opt out. I mean, you think that's actually really the best way to go, Google, with everything else that you got gunning for you right now? My Lord.
It proves the case that they need to separate Krum.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Oh, my gosh. Didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
Another article of just the SERP changing here, another search engine roundtable article. Google removes breadcrumbs from mobile search result snippets. So Google's actually removed the breadcrumb from the mobile search result, leaving only the domain in the search result snippets. The desktop search results still have the breadcrumb in there and the domain in the snippets. Google said that this is to provide a cleaner, more streamlined look for how URLs appear in the search results. Google added that this global launch will affect all mobile results in all languages. So just to dovetail what we were just talking about, Google will still put its own links in your content on a mobile search, but when you click on it, they're not giving the breadcrumb links, which is a little bit more validation on the domain side that's actually getting search rankings, because they want to have a cleaner experience and probably have a few more ads in there. Sorry, Google bashing right now, but they're boomeranging you back over, and now they're actually not even giving you that level of real estate in the SERP. Okay, am I out of line here?
Breadcrumbs were something that added authority and click-through rate for sites. Right. If you had a good breadcrumb in the SERP, then that helped you get click-through. But Google doesn't care about click-through anymore. Like, especially on mobile, they've got to keep room for the AI overviews and the ads. And the people also ask, like, they don't want even, and maybe it's a processing power. Maybe like pulling into the breadcrumb takes extra processing power, and they don't want to pay for that because they've got these big bills to pay for all their AI overviews. You know, like it's helpful for users. It was helpful for SEOs. It was helpful for sites. But Google doesn't care about the blue links anymore. They care about the top, and they care about the expanders, and they care about the ads.
I'm going to quadruple down on that and take you over to the article, jumping over to Google is testing an expandable brand store knowledge panel. And if you search a brand like New Balance, for example, says Barry, Google will show a knowledge panel on the right of the products, descriptions, and so on. But then if you click on the arrow button, it'll expand and show you even more. This was spotted by Sachin Patel as well, who posted the example here. So you can actually see the screenshots, and all of a sudden it expands out into New Balance shoes. And a further knowledge panel. We've been seeing these expansions before, but from a brand standpoint, this is the new website real estate, folks, is that your brand is going to be expanded on Google search result pages, more and more taking your traffic away from you to be able to expand and have your own custom experience. The knowledge panel is now your digital business card and brand card tied into merchant services. Guess what? It's a holistic buying experience, right?
Expect this to be deeply integrated with Merchant Center and what we call Google Product Knowledge Graph, which is a comparison shopping site. So if you're New Balance and you're selling New Balance shoes directly from your website, but people are selling those same shoes cheaper from Amazon or whatever, those are now going to basically in your branded search result. This is my guess of where Google's going. And you know what? I know I sound like a Google hater, and I think that they're doing some unethical things. And I think this is borderline, but users love it. And I would love it if, when I'm shopping, I don't want to pay the highest price. I want to pay the best price. So I think this is the way, Google spent years and years crawling and indexing the web and kind of finding the important content. And now they're like, why would we send someone to a website when we know what they want anyway? Let's just lift it into our SERP. And I think that's what's happening here.
Sidebar. I just had to have a sidebar right now. Are we going to be experiencing a non-destination experience in the near future for our customers? That's what we're discussing right here. It's a holistic transaction of finding the best deal for whatever you're looking for. The destination websites are getting more and more marginalized right? And it has been hypothesized that Google's just not going to be sending traffic to your site in the future.
Your website is like a mini database of what you know that Google can pull from.
Killing me, Spalls. All right, taking a break real quick, and then we got 3 articles here. Hey, we're proud to have.
I talked about, like, people don't know they're dead yet.
Oh, okay.
I'm sorry.
Oh my gosh, no problem. All right, just pivot around real quick. Make sure that you check out InLinks. They're a continued sponsor of Edge of the Web. Did you know that entities play a major role in how search engines understand and suck up your data and use it for their own search results? Optimizing your content solely around keywords is a thing of the past. You got to check out entity-based content, entity-based optimization. And InLinks is an award-winning software in entity SEO. Go over to edgeofthewebradio.com/InLinks. INLIKS to be able to claim your free InLinks account. You can start creating content that's going to be outperforming your competitors, but maybe not outperforming the knowledge panels and brand panels on Google. All right, free. And then we got to hit home on these. These are huge here. So this is in the ad space, but I wanted to pull this up for you, Cindy, to be able to take a swing at it because I appreciate why you put this in the article. List here, Google Ads PMax reports with private search term categories. So in the Google Ads Performance Max search category, Google is now displaying private search terms. Private queries are terms that have been searched by fewer than 50 unique users over the past 90 days. That's what Google explained. This was spotted by Arpan Banjari, who actually posted the screenshot on X. Google Ads does hide some queries, and we also saw that last year of low volume queries, and they're just changing the name a bit here. Google's now being clearer about some of what those queries are. Lots of comments on that particular post here. Why is this in this run of SEO, Cindy?
Yeah. I'm known for kind of seeing things before they're announced and stuff like that. Yep. And one of the things that I do from an SEO perspective is I watch what's happening in paid to figure out where Google's going, what they're trying to do, because if they can get away with something with people that are paying them, then they can definitely get away with us in SEO since we're not paying for our rankings. And so, Google has gotten away with so much with PMax, right? It's this big black box where it's just like, just pay us and we will bid on the keywords that we think you should be
trust us. What could happen there, right?
Don't worry about it. And then, when Google adds the word PMax next to privacy, I'm like, is that could these be in the same sentence? But the point of including it here is it just gives me flashbacks from like the day that things went to not provided. And just remember that if the only analytics that you have set up is GA4, number one, everyone hates it and it's trash. It's okay if you hate it too. But number two, they giveth and they can taketh away, right? If they're calling new things private in paid, they might start to call new things private in organic. And right. That includes in analytics and stuff like that. So I always recommend having at least 2 kinds of website analytics going at the same time so you can see as much as possible and just, watch for what Google as a company thinks is private and what they don't.
Because it could very well be visitor traffic, because we know that any keywords are not in our ecosystem on Google Analytics 4, but private sessions, they could very well take away a number of user experiences that you can't navigate by or actually have analytics on, to your point. So there's some factors there, absolutely. What would be what would you recommend as an additional secondary analytics tool? And there's a lot out there, but what's one of your faves to be able to compare data?
Oh, there's a lot out there. My clients are usually on big enterprise things, so I don't get to choose this. So I don't actually have a favorite. I hate most of them. Clarity is okay. I don't know. I don't really have a favorite. But the other thing that I'll point out to you here is just that when we talk about antitrust kinds of things, the talk that I gave that was UFO themed was about this idea that Google has been getting all of our data and data about our customers from our websites for years and kind of it in Google Analytics and understanding our websites and giving it back to us to help us understanding our websites. But as they start to limit that more and more and more, what it means is they're taking our data kind of for free. It used to be a give and take. They would take the data and present it to us in a way that we could parse and understand. But as they kind of keep more and more of it for themselves, they're just hoarding our website data to no major benefit for us. And then they're hoarding our user data so that they can use it in cohort analysis to sell better ads and to group us in the right ad groups. So we're kind of being robbed on both sides, on the website side and the user side. When Google used to be more handsy-outsy with the data and the info, but what they've learned is like they don't have to, so they don't want to. And they've learned that like other platforms and portals and search engines learn from Google's massive data, so they don't want to publish as much because they were, giving us this stuff kind of for free or for trade, and now they have us kind of held hostage as Google users by habit, and there's not a lot of better options out there other than the LLMs for search and discovery. Right. So yeah, I think it's headed down this monopolistic path, and you can see the signs everywhere, and Google doesn't seem like they're about to turn around and go the other way.
No, and on top of that, with the additional data that they're pulling in from Google Chrome, that's also data that they're not using. We can't use that data for anything. It's user behavior data, it's click data, be able to actually understand behaviors and voting with clicks from the users. That's why they built the bloody thing to begin with, which pivots me over to the last article that I want to bring up, and this was the topper here, and I wanted to get through a lot of real estate changes here, what Google's doing, what the LLM environment is, but let's stop right here at the Google breakup is likely off the table under Trump. And want to give you the limelight here, Cindy, over at techtarget.com. The author here is Mackenzie Holland. She says, Donald Trump might not want to break up Google, but history suggests he won't slow antitrust enforcement efforts against bad actors. She says the big tech companies facing antitrust lawsuits in the U.S., such as Google, Amazon, Meta, might be able to breathe a little bit easier under an incoming Trump administration. And this was written in November 2024. McKinsey says big tech companies facing antitrust lawsuits in the U.S., such as Google, Amazon, and Meta, might be able to breathe a little bit easier under the incoming and now present Trump administration. Large-scale remedies such as company breakups will likely be taken off the table. And you better believe if you saw Zuckerberg, Bezos, and was Pichai there as well? They were all in the lineup there in the inauguration, and they were sitting right next to each other. That was such a close and awkward thing, regardless of Bezos's fiance.
I feel like that's going to be a historic picture.
I think so, too.
Yeah, I mean, that was wild.
That was weird. And did you also know Google and was it Amazon or another large tech company just put $1 million?
Amazon and TikTok both represented there, right?
Oh, yeah. But Google also donated $1 million to the inaugural fund as well. So you got big tech throw a coin in the hat for, hey, yeah, we're here with you. So you see a different dynamic that's happening here. And I mean, Google's still going through the antitrust lawsuit that Trump started in 2020, right? And we also heard at the end of last year some decisions, or at least some hypothesis of how, because they were found to be a monopoly, and now we're in this space of what is the repercussions of that. So there's the DOJ have been making recommendations to the judge to be able to break out Chrome as one of the key factors of breaking up that monopoly. But this article here, we've got the Trump administration. They have their own plans here. We have to see some. Let me back up. What do you see and what have you been listening to that actually gives you pause on this pivot right now?
Yeah, so I think it's a very interesting topic overall that can go a lot of different ways. But what's interesting, on the tip of my brain is just this idea that Google was going down that path of being highlighted as a monopoly, and there was this potential for breaking Chrome off into a separate company. But, the Trump administration is so against any kind of business regulation, and they're so aware of the potential impact that all of the technology companies can have on the flow and distribution of information, that they don't want to, make enemies with any of the tech companies. And the tech companies are also, with their contributions, like you said, indicating that they don't want to make enemies with the administration. So I think a lot of things will kind of just slow down or go into research and consideration for 4 years. Unless Trump just gets, has a bad day and changes his mind, which he has, he could do, because originally, like you said, Trump started this DOJ investigation. He's kind of a fair weather friend, but now, he understands how the internet works. Finally, maybe a little bit. And
maybe you learned from his son, Barron.
I don't know if he knows how the internet works. I wouldn't go that far.
but here's the thing is that also Meta, Zuckerberg actually, before the inauguration, referenced that Meta was no longer going to be using these third-party verification platforms like Snopes and the others, right? So even before getting to inauguration, Meta's making these signals going, okay, you're in now. We're not going to be doing some of the stuff that we had been doing in the past for truth and verification. And arguably, there was an entire other mindset of, wow, you're actually taking out stories that should have been in the ecosystem. So there's a lot of camps of thought there. But the point being, if you see Google tip the valet $1 million at the inaugural ball there,
and I'm going to quit my job and become a valet.
Exactly.
Good luck with the podcast.
It couldn't be more overt, and the visual that was at inauguration, I think, is typifying this particular point right here. They're all lined up like bloody lemmings behind Trump.
And just like he started the stuff with Google, he tried to ban TikTok.
Right.
And now he's the one that's trying to save TikTok. Like,
what the crap?
Who knows what he's going to do next?
As super volatile. Right? Just like he makes a decision and tries to implement it the next day. But also remember, Trump threw Google under the bus for COVID testing sites. Do you remember that whole hoopla that never happened, where we're working with Google to set up these drive-through, and Google was like, what?
Yeah.
Yep. So much, and there's so many different opinions in this space. But one is try and check the data and be able to make arguments and check different search engines, be able to see what's happening, what from content. But whenever you, just to finalize this point, whenever you see all the big tech leaders there, right there behind them, okay, something has changed in the relationships, and okay, what are we going to be seeing? Right? What are we going to be seeing from regulation, from evening out playing fields, right? And on top of that, what we're talking about in the beginning of the show was we're losing data on both sides of the fence, and we as consumers and business owners aren't being given information to be able to steer and be in front of our consumers. They're taking our traffic with all of these different changes, all these different filters and snippets and knowledge panels. Yes, it's good for the consumer, but my gosh, when do we stop giving to the big tech giants and hold up kind of paywall or do something that can protect our own users, because they didn't get there without us as website content. Remember that, folks. They didn't get there without our users that they were actually serving up in search. Anyway.
Is it weird or troubling to anyone that it's so out in the open and public like that? Or
is that really weird?
Or is that the only way that Trump can say, I see your $1 million donation, and this is my way of showing the world that I acknowledge it and that you're safe now?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even know.
We're the only ones. Our website owners are the only ones who think these are our users. Google thinks they're their users.
I know.
Right?
Yep.
And Trump, his citizens, So everyone feels like they have a stake in the game, but we're kind of at the bottom of the totem pole.
Yeah,
and so,
we really are.
About new ways to monetize and new ways to reach users, new ways to drive conversions. If Google's not going to send website traffic, then how do we make money? Do we
become a valet?
Become a valet or get into merch so that we can, or who knows what, sell on TikTok? Whatever.
As long as it's there, whatever. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So diversify your portfolio, folks. That's the thing. Make sure that you're in a lot of different spaces. On top of that, make sure that your brand is out there. You're getting cited by your brand and relevancy out there, as we were talking about HubSpot earlier. Get your citations, get your brand depth in place there, because that's what's going to be winning for you in the foreseeable future. Cindy, we really appreciate you jumping in and doing this focus with us. It's always great to be able to see you and have you on the show here. Hopefully, we're going to be having you as a regular, coming back and really doing a deep dive in SEO every so often. So thanks for the participation there. Can we promote you in any way, shape, or form? We know you have a number of conferences, but Mobile Moxie, want to make sure everybody checks out Mobile Moxie. Anything else that you want to promote right now?
Yeah, Mobile Moxie, we have tools. We offer strategic consulting for SEO, international SEO, technical SEO, all those things. And I have a YouTube channel. I'm all over. So, find
Fantastic.
me and interact. Yeah, I love it.
All right. Well, you'll find her here, back again here soon. Thanks so much for your time today. That is it for The Edge this week. Thanks for listening, guys. Make sure that you check out the last podcast that we just did, 741. That's with Paula Mahir, Enterprise Marketing Director over at Wix Studio. And from our side of the fence, be sure to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. And go check out some of the other shows that we've done. If you like what we did, go over to ratethispodcast.com/edge. And that's how you can actually show us what we did right, what we did wrong, and that we can learn from it. So from all of us over The Edge, stay safe, stay well, good luck in 2025, and don't be a piece of cyber driftwood. Talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.